If you're the sort that likes to go deeper than the law of attraction, then I have a great story for you today about the law of stealth. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kaylin, and I am co-founder of the Golden Flow system of accelerated well-being and abundance. This is my buddy Oberon, who, as you can see, is very wise and helps me really stay clear in life. Together, we like to bring this wisdom and this clarity to help you get in the flow. So I like to call myself your abundance coach, because I believe in an abundance of wonderful things in your life, or the richness in life, whether that's financial riches or love or whatever it is that you're after. Today though, Oberon and I wanted to talk to you about an experience that I had yesterday that was quite interesting. See, what happens is the law of attraction is great and all, but there's so much more to it, and there's so much beyond it, in the sense that you don't just go around thinking happy thoughts and having wonderful things come to you, right? I mean, it really is more, right, Oberon, about your energy, about who you really are, about your authenticity. There's just so much more going on at those levels, about your intentions, about, all sorts of things. So today what I wanted to do is I wanted to do something a little different, and I wanted to tell you an experience I had, and help see how that really might apply to your life, and how that can help you take the law of attraction deeper. So here's my story. About 6 months ago, I started a networking group with a girlfriend. And it was sort of a fluke thing that we started together, but it felt very fortuitous. And I really appreciated it. Because, it's always better to do something collaboratively, and it's always better to connect with someone and develop a friendship, develop a business, or, whatever it is, develop a joint project. And so I did, and there we went. And we were going along just fine. Although because it was something that I wanted to do and it worked for me in my business, it didn't necessarily work for her in her business, and so in some ways things weren't even. She couldn't participate as much, and she therefore sometimes felt like I was running with this, and I was, because I was having fun, I'm living my expression, I'm living my life to my fullest as best I can, but she's not getting to connect in that same way. So yesterday, we sat down and we had a heart-to-heart, and as much as I really hated to lose having someone that I was doing this with, a part of me knew that that's probably the direction things had to go in. And it really was disappointing, because it's really fun to have a business lunch and talk about what you're doing together, but having that excuse to get together, having something that you're really working on and creating together, that kind of thing. Actually, when I got home, I called another girlfriend and I said, I broke up with someone, because that's really how it felt. And she felt the same way, the woman that I was doing this with. However, one of the things that's so interesting is, on the one hand, I feel like I lost some ways to connect with a friend, but I realized that I gained so much more, and that's been an interesting shift in my perception. And what I mean by that is, because this project is so much more me and so much of what I'm doing, and because I felt like resentment was starting to grow because she didn't feel like she had equal footing, and she didn't know how to have that equal footing. By talking to her and having a heart-to-heart, and by breaking up, one of the things I did is I really put myself first, and she really put herself first. At the end, she was really excited. She said, I really think that if we both do our own thing, then we can come together in some joint ventures in a much stronger way than the way we were doing it before. And I think she's right. And a part of the reason that's so true is because we took ourselves into account and what was really best for ourselves first. I didn't take into account what I liked first, like having that friend to go to lunch with. I didn't take into account feeling like I liked having someone to do this with. Instead, I put the needs of myself, of my project, I really put myself first. And when she opted out, when she said, I think I'll just let you do this on your own, she did the same thing. She said, this might be a distraction for what I'm trying to create in my life, so maybe I need to go and focus on what I'm trying to create in my life. And so we both really put ourselves first. In the long run, I anticipate that it'll actually strengthen our friendship. Although it doesn't feel like it right now, because right now there's nothing in that sense to connect about. Sure, we can still get together, and sure, we can still have fun, that kind of thing. But it was a lot easier when there was a common reason to come together, to talk about what we were developing, to talk about how it was going. And yet, can you really see that because we each put ourselves first, we've really activated the law of attraction. When you put yourself first, one of the things that happens is you're abiding by the law of self. In the law of self, what you say you are, who you say you are, the universe turns around and says, as you wish, so it is. And it lets you be that. It empowers you to be that, if you will. Then law of attraction brings you things that match those energies. If you say, for example, that you're something that vibrates very low, like dirt, then law of attraction brings you dirt-like experiences. If you can authentically say that you're a king or a queen by your own right in your own life, then law of attraction will bring you experiences that match that. So by abiding by the law of self and by putting ourselves first, one of the things that we really did is we got in the flow. And again, even though some of it felt a little sad, overall it really feels right. And now that I know that there was some resentment building, probably in both of us, because I was doing so much more work and I was okay with it, but at some point you kind of feel like, hey, what's going on? So, now that I realized how much resentment there potentially could have been, and what was just starting to come forward, I realized that it really was the best choice, and that puts us in a whole new flow to be happy with each other, to develop our own things, and then come together later, both professionally and as friends, in a much stronger way. When you're in the flow of your own authenticity, of your own abundance, well, that starts to open doors, because you're telling the universe who you are, the authentic version of you, the abundant version of you, and then law of attraction comes along and heats that for you. So it's so important to make sure that whether it seems like a fun thing or not, whether you feel like you might lose some things that you prefer or not, it's always so important to make sure that you're putting yourself first. That is a spiritual principle that isn't always talked about, and yet it is one that will really line up your whole life. It'll certainly line up the law of attraction to attract things into your life the way you prefer, but it'll also really line you up to be the person experiencing the things you prefer and feeling about yourself the way that you really want to feel about yourself. And making sure that we feel really good and confident about ourselves is so important, because that's a big piece about how we tap into the riches of life. Well, if you've made it this far, please be sure to subscribe so that you catch the next video. Also, Oberon, he loves when you make comments or you make suggestions about a topic that you'd like for us to cover next time. So please be sure to leave us a comment or a question. And Oberon also loves when people join our tribe, because when you join our tribe, we set up and send you special videos that only the tribe gets. We tell you about workshops and all sorts of other things to assist you to live that richness of life when you're in the flow.